In this lesson we're going to look at building our arrangement and looking at editing techniques to kind of get the most out of this arrangement window. So the first thing that I like to do is add locators. Now I've added my first one here which just says intro. You see there's a nice little bar there. So if we wanted to add another one, all we do is we come up into this area here and then we right click and we say add locator. So we call this, I don't know, verse. Okay, and we can press enter. So let's do another one here. Right click, add locator, call it chorus. Press enter, and we'll do one more. We'll call it just verse 2. Right click, add locator, verse 2, and that just helps us be super organized. Now the next thing you're going to do, as you can see here, I've kind of zoomed out and I've collapsed things. So one thing I don't particularly like is the way it all comes in. So using these arrows, it kind of, you have 4 tracks here or 5 tracks, and you see by having them all open and being able to see what's the automation kind of area, it doesn't give you much scope. It just makes it very hard to look at. So what I like to do is just close these arrows. Okay. Another thing, if you remember in a previous lesson, we also have the ability to zoom in and around clips. So if you come up into this area here, you'll see the magnifying glass. If you scroll down, you'll see it zooms in. If you scroll upwards, you'll see it zooms out. Now if you want to navigate the whole scene, you can actually just click and drag left or click and drag right. Okay, and that allows you just to navigate around there. Now let's look at some other kind of editing techniques. So as you can see, I've kind of started messing around with this. So let me show you what you can do. One thing I'm noticing is I've got this guitar part and it starts 2 bars too early. So one thing I can do is if I come to an empty area and I click and drag, and you'll see that now I've got this whole area selected, I can just press delete and that will get rid of all of that. It's not even a problem. Let me just undo that, Control Z. However, if I think to myself, actually, I could do with moving that, same thing, and then I can just kind of move it. Okay, so just by clicking on it and moving it. Okay, so Control Z that. Another thing that I can do is, say for instance I didn't want this bar here in the middle, I can select it, just make sure it's selected, and I can press delete and it will delete it out of the middle of the bar as well. Control Z. If I want to, and let's just get rid of this one as well because actually I don't want that. If I want to duplicate something, say for instance I want this to be all on its own, or I want these two bars here to be on its own, I can press the Alt button, click and drag, and then let go of my mouse button, and you'll see that it duplicates it. Let me just do that again. So let me take this bit here. So I'll just grab that middle section there, and I'll press the Alt button, click and drag, and I'll just drop it there. So you can see it's kept this bit intact, but it's given me that same bar at the end there. So that's quite a nifty thing to be able to do. Let's just Control Z a couple of these things. So those are your editing techniques. And as I said previously, if you want to edit any of these tracks, they no longer have anything to do with the session view. So you can edit away. For instance, think actually, let's just get rid of some of these notes. It's non-destructive. You're not editing your clip. So if I come back here and go to this drum, you'll notice that all of those hi-hat parts are still there and everything is good. We don't need to go any further than that. Okay, so that's editing. Now, Ableton has a really nice sample library. Let me show you how to kind of import extra parts into this view. And I'm going to show you a couple of ways. So the first way is I've just done a search here. I've clicked on samples and I've just done a search for shaker. Now the first way is I can just click on this and I can drag and say actually I want it in this section here, and I can drop, and it's too short, so I can get the handle and I can just make it longer. That's one way. Now what you're going to notice, if we go back to the session view, you're going to notice that we've got this new 6 audio track created, but there will be no clips. So let me just tab over, and here's my 6 audio and no clips. Okay. If you want to work like that, that's absolutely fine, and you have the flexibility just to drop extra parts, just like you would do any DAWs. Just drop parts wherever you want them, and it's fantastic. However, if you wanted them to be part of your session view, you would need to drop that onto a clip itself. So let's just delete this, and we'll do that part again in a second. But now let's go back over And let's just show you how you do the same process but here. This time all we can do is grab that and drop it there and press play. Okay, remember we can stop it there, or we can stop it there. And now it's quite interesting because we've got just a little bit more editing, and we can duplicate it and we can have a little play, and it's just a bit of flexibility. But we can also grab that same part and we can drag it in there. So let's see how that sounds with my actual track. Remember, it's all grayed out again, so we do have to come over to here and click on this button, and now make sure that we're working within the arrange window. Now one thing you're noticing is that's just too loud, so we need to turn it down. The inclination, if you've come from another DAW like Logic, the inclination is to come down here and turn this button down. But remember, if you turn this down, that will affect all the clips, okay? So what you need to do, or sorry, other way around, that will affect an individual clip. If you want it to affect all the clips, what you really need to do is use the channel volume button, which is this one here, okay? So you can click on this and you can just make it quieter just by clicking and dragging downwards, okay? Okay, I think that's pretty much all I need to say about kind of working in this area and being a bit more organized. So there's a lot of flexibility there. Have a little play with some of the kind of cropping out techniques and making sure you understand how to kind of add these locators, because these can be really powerful actually. And I'll see you in the next video.